Hi, everybody. I'm Lisa Kessler. I own Kessler Insurance in Newmarket, New Hampshire, and I'm also one of the founders of this organization, I guess I'll call it, Cheers for Charity, and I get to work on this with my partner, Joanne Burchuck.
Thank you, Lisa. Hi, I'm Joanne Burchuck, and I'm with Lighthouse Physical Therapy, and we're so excited today to introduce Jennifer and Marie, and they're with the Oyster River Womenade. So Jennifer, you want to tell us a little bit about what you do?
Sure. Thank you, Joanne. Oyster River Womenade is based in Durham, New Hampshire. We service 4 communities surrounding us: Durham, Newmarket, Madbury, and Lee. We were established in 2006, so we're actually coming across our 15th anniversary next year. So we're very excited to be a part of that. We have 6 board members, always looking for another. So if anyone wants to get involved with Oyster River Womenade, we'd love to have you. Our mission at Oyster River Womenade is to help individuals and families when they're sort of faced with a short-term financial crisis. So we will work with them to bridge the gap so that nothing further goes into debt for them. So it can be a utility bill, it could be a rent bill. So our goal is not to be long-term. We are just the last resource when they've tried elsewhere to find a way to pay something that maybe came up unexpectedly or they just have gotten behind on over the course of several months. So, and Marie, who is on the board with me, Marie, do you want to talk a little bit about where our distribution goes to funding-wise?
Sure. I'm Marie Bader. I'm also on the board of Oyster River Womenade. We're always looking for new board members, so if anybody's interested, we are completely volunteer. We keep our overhead to a minimum. So everything we raise goes toward the families in need in our community, and it's a local effort. As Jen said, just the 4 in Newmarket, Lee, Madbury. There are Durham, and there are other Womenades. 2 more in New Hampshire, and I believe there's quite a few around the country, maybe 30 or so. But they're all local based, and they're all purely volunteer. So there's no paid staff. And we, let's see, I'd say over half of our distribution goes to help people with mortgage, housing and mortgage. We had a young single mom who was finally, with the help, I think, of her pastor, had found a place to live that she could afford. But then, of course, they want first month, they want security, they want, last month, and she couldn't do it. And they tried, I think the church helped them some, everybody was helping them, and they had gotten down to, I can't remember how much, it was under 500, because that's our limit per family per year. So we were able to help her get into that apartment with her kids. So that was a really good feeling. Yeah. So half of it goes to housing. Some of it goes to transportation, things like, car insurance, a car payment, driver's ed. I had no idea how expensive driver's ed is. $600 and some dollars.
Yeah.
So we had a teacher come to us. These families come to us through a validator, someone who knows them and knows what they've done, so that we know it's a legitimate request. And the teacher came to us and said, he needs to get his driver's ed so he can work to help support his family. And so we helped with that. So that was really, we were happy to do it. What else do we do? Medical bills. We all know how those can get out of hand. Household goods. Sometimes somebody needs a crib and can't get it from anywhere else. Utilities, keep the heat on. Childcare. What else, Jennifer?
I think you hit the majority of them. It's a wide variety of different areas that we are able to cover because being such a small organization, 6 board members, we're nimble, we're flexible, we're able to take a request, validate it, and churn out the check immediately. So we don't have to go through a lot of loopholes to figure out if we're going to be able to fund this or that, which I think helps people when they're really in distress, and it's their last hope for us to be able to step in and make that payment on their behalf. So.
Right, and we pay directly.
That is fantastic. And yeah, all the people that have benefited from what you ladies are working towards is so amazing. It sounds like there's a couple things. One, they have to live in a particular area to qualify.
Right.
And 2, you said there's a $500 limit per person per family for the year. And all that takes a lot of funding. So especially now with everything going on, with COVID, I feel like that's all we're talking about. But how are you guys doing, and how are you rebounding, and what are your needs in helping to meet the needs of our community?
Yeah, so COVID really has affected us. We have one big fundraiser a year. Last year it was in November, and it was out at I think you were there, Lisa. We were out at the inn, and it was wonderful. And we raised enough, to help us through the next year. And now we can't do that. So we are, of course, going out for donations, and but we have decided to go with New Hampshire Gives. Are you familiar with that? No, I can't hear you, Lisa. You're muted.
Second time. Maybe you could explain that for people who are listening in and who might not be familiar with that. Just at a high level, what's that program?
You want to tell them about it, Jen?
Sure. So New Hampshire Gives is run by the New Hampshire Charitable Foundation, and they host an online 24-hour online giving event. This year it's June 9th and 10th. And it covers the entire state of New Hampshire, and all the nonprofits that would like to be a part of it can sign up to be on the platform. So given, as Marie said, that our fundraiser event will most likely, probably not, we've decided not to host a fundraiser event in the fall this year. Instead, we're going to put our efforts behind New Hampshire Gives and hope that we can really get the attention and our donors and sponsors to give to us during this time period on June 9th and 10th. So look out for that, because that will be a very exciting time for us.
Right, and we're looking for people to help spread the word through their network about New Hampshire Gives, and also we're looking for matching sponsors, because they tell us they've been having webinars and teaching us about how to do this, because this is new to us. And they said, if you can go out and find somebody to be a matching sponsor, that would really help boost your donations. So New Hampshire Gives is going to be a whole new ball game for us.
Fantastic. And now, are you finding that with the particular situation that you're getting more requests than you traditionally had in the past?
Oh yeah. At first, it got really quiet the first couple of weeks when we got locked down, and we thought everybody's, waiting for their stimulus check and for their unemployment insurance. Well, it didn't come for a lot of people. So yes, now we're getting slammed. It's really hard, and it's really hard because we have a limited budget, and we have a cap on what we can do. That's in our bylaws. That's the way it was set up. Is $500 per family per year, because we don't want them to think that we're someone they can come back to. We are last resort. So it's really hard to decide where the money goes.
Marie, do you want to share that story that we had of the recent request for the nurse?
Oh yeah. So this nurse had, she was a nurse, then she had kids, so she stayed home. Her husband worked, and she was going to be a stay-at-home mom. Well, COVID came, and he lost his job. Well, she's an essential worker, so she needed to go back to work, and he was going to stay home with the kids. But she needed to renew her nurse's license, and she needed scrubs, and she couldn't find any place to help her with that. So we did, and she's back working.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, it made us feel really good.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
It's a fantastic organization. You guys do amazing work for, and I think a lot of people don't realize that it's not just, although it's called Oyster River Womenade, it also does include Newmarket, and a significant portion of the that you support also are from the Newmarket community as well as the Oyster River community, correct?
Yes,
Correct.
I actually say Newmarket is the dominant market that we support. And I also will say, even though our organization's name is Womenade, we do help men and children, all walks of life, individuals, families. It's not exclusive to women. So that's
Right.
a good point.
In our mission statement, it says we serve without prejudice or discrimination. Anybody that needs it.
Fantastic. Great. And so if a couple questions. So if someone is in need and needs to you said they have to be sponsored or come through a verification source, how does that process sort of work? Who do they go to?
Well, they go on our website, which is orwomenade.org. That's ORWOMANEDE, right? ADE, right? Womenade. And they go on the website, and there are forms to fill out. So if someone in your community was in need of help and they'd tried everything else, you could go on there and fill out the form, right, as the validator. And we call it a validator because they're telling us this is a legitimate need, right? And so you fill out the form, and it goes through our secure website that is just open to the board, and then Jen pushes it out to the rest of us and says, she checks it out, makes sure that it's valid, and then pushes it out to the rest of us, and we discuss it. We're online, and we can turn it around in 24 hours. And when everybody's agreed or the majority have agreed, then the treasurer writes the check to whoever it is, whether it's the utility company or the landlord or the school for driver's ed. So we never actually get in contact with the client. It's always through a validator. And so they're, which is someone they know and are comfortable with, right? And so they don't feel like they're being examined by us. You want to add anything to that, Jen?
No, I think the validators are anything from a pastor, a community leader, a therapist, a social worker, someone at the school, a counselor. A wide variety of people are sort of considered a validator for us. It's just someone that they are working with very closely on their well-being and their household.
Right.
Fantastic. So we did talk about New Hampshire Gives. Obviously, you'd be more than willing to accept donations, in addition to New Hampshire Gives, and throughout the remainder of the year, there'll be continue to be probably more need than you've seen in a really long time.
Yes. Yes.
So you can do that directly on our website, which is orwomenade.org. There's a donate button right there. It makes it very simple. And as people may know, this year we have a tax exemption of $300 for an individual, $600 for a couple. So please donate to your organizations of your choice, but it's a good time to donate because of that tax exemption that we're going to have.
I did donate recently to your website because I had a friend who was kind enough to make me some masks, and she wouldn't take payment. And so in her honor, I gave just a small little donation to you all, but it was super easy to donate.
Thank you. Thank you. And every bit counts. It doesn't matter the amount. We'll take anything. So thank you for that.
And that's something that Joanne and I talk about all the time. It's the value of collaborative giving, right? So
Right.
whole bunch of people to give a little bit, it adds up quick.
That's right. That's right.
That's important. So
Well, we have such a generous community, don't we? I mean, really, so many people volunteer for different organizations and are so generous. Uh, it is really heartwarming to see.
it's fantastic. So if people want to donate, they can do it through your website. If they want to submit a potential person or family or whatever the relationship is of that's in need, they can do that through your website. And they can also, I'm assuming, get information about the organization and ways to volunteer and become part and support on the website. Are there other ways that they should be following you or reaching out to you, or social media, other things like that?
Yep, we have a strong Facebook page, Instagram, Twitter account. Instagram, yep, Twitter and Facebook, yeah. So Facebook, obviously, a lot of people use. That's a great way to connect with us as well.
Fantastic, and we'll make sure we share all your links so when we post it, so people will get more engaged, because you guys do really great work, and I do look forward to a time though when you can hold your big events, because they're always a blast.
That was my first, because I just joined the board last fall, and I had so much fun. That was such a great event, and I was so pleased at the turnout.
Yeah, may all this be in the past. We can start doing our social events again.
Right.
Exactly.
Terrific.
Thank you, ladies, so much for all that you do for our community and the facilitating the giving and helping them out. We really appreciate you joining us today. It's been great to get to see you.
Thank you for having us.
Yes, thank you very much.
Thank you both. It's been a pleasure.